Hello, everyone. My name is Asia Flores, and I'm a part of Cohort X of the Lockheed Martin Leadership Institute. We've been working hard these past few months on our upcoming conference, Reimagine Collaboration, Navigating the Evolving Workplace. I'm excited to share some of the key takeaways from Washington Post's recent webinar titled Future of Work, Collaboration in the New Job Market with Jared Spataro and Heather Boucher. As you can tell from the title, this webinar was broken up into two parts, which is how I'll be structuring my discussion of the webinar today. So first, Jared Spataro, who's the Corporate Vice President of Modern Work at Microsoft, came on to talk about what has been called the hybrid paradox, which is a term that has been used to describe workers' simultaneous desire to maintain the flexibility that they were given in the workplace during the pandemic, while also expressing a desire to engage in more in-person collaboration. So obviously, these things are sort of mutually exclusive, but Mr. Spataro says that one key aspect of addressing this paradox is how we define the word hybrid itself. So for Microsoft, they look at hybrid working as not simply just flexibility in the location in which you work, but also the times you work and even how you work. So to address these key needs of workers, Microsoft has decided to implement a 50% in-person reintegration to the workplace. So workers do have to come into the office at least 50% of the time, but for the other 50%, they can work in any capacity they choose without needing to notify their manager. So they have complete control over the remote aspect of their jobs. And the reason Microsoft decided upon this model is because, according to their Work Trend Index study of over 31 countries and 30,000 people, so super broad, 73% hope to have jobs where employers allowed them to maintain that flexibility they had during the pandemic. But at the same time, 67% of them wanted more in-person collaboration, hence the hybrid paradox. So when it comes to logistics in terms of what it will look like when employees do come back into the workplace, Mr. Spataro said that those sorts of decisions will be pushed as far down as possible, most likely to the corporate vice president level, as there is a lot of variation in the kinds of work different employees are doing that will affect what in-person models make the most sense for that individual situation. So some common examples that have been used at Microsoft include neighborhood seating, which is basically just having an assigned workspace that you come into when you do work in person. And others include a hotel type system where you sign up for an available space on the days you wish to go into work. Next, they talked a little bit more about the changing expectations of workers as a result of the pandemic. So as I'm sure everyone can relate to, a lot of people ended up spending a lot more time working over the pandemic because it wasn't totally clear when the workday started versus when it ended. There wasn't that commute time that sort of separates our professional lives from our personal lives, and a lot of people had a really hard time shutting off their work. Workers actually ended up spending 150% more time in meetings, and at least 30% of them said that they felt completely exhausted from work. So people are definitely feeling burnt out in the aftermath of this pandemic. To combat this, Microsoft has implemented a new application called Insights that tracks well-being, burnout, making sure that employees are getting enough time to speak with their manager, etc. And they're hoping this will help them to monitor employees' maintenance of that ever-important work-life balance. In addition to this, Jared equates the pre-pandemic worker as someone who's running on a treadmill where they don't really control the incline or the speed, but both of them are being increased by their employer without their input. So at the height of the pandemic, when everything was fully remote, people were given this chance to slow down and reflect about what they truly wanted. Coming out of this time of self-reflection, it was found that 41% of employees were planning to leave their current employer within the next 12 months, and 46% of employees wanted to completely move house, so like a complete geographical relocation. And these numbers are both a lot higher than we've seen in the past. So clearly, this nationwide trend that we're seeing of labor shortages is connected to people's reevaluation of what they desire from their professional lives. And as for the future of technology, Mr. Spataro mentioned that he believes that the next step after companies adopt the hybrid model in the workplace will be the merging of digital spaces with physical spaces. So things like the establishment of holograms and a metaverse and things of that nature. And while it seems a little out there, it definitely did to me like way far in the future, it's definitely possible a lot sooner than we think. And the data that Microsoft has collected when pilot testing their new program Viva shows that people will prefer an avatar over a camera when interacting with others virtually. So there are definitely going to be some big changes coming to the workplace as a result of the pandemic, which has totally sped up the process of digital transformation like we never really thought it could. Now, for the second part of this discussion, I'll be reviewing the key insights from White House Economic Council Advisor Heather Boucher. Ms. Boucher did mention that there's been an average of 600 jobs gained per month since President Biden took office, and that the unemployment rate is again below 5%. So overall, the country is trending towards economic recovery again. She noted that a key aspect of getting workers back into the workplace and to recovering the economy is that we reach our target vaccination rate so that consumers feel safe participating in their usual activities again, and workers feel safe returning to the workplace. And this is an idea that has been unanimously agreed upon by economists. So, Ms. Boucher also mentioned that benefits for workers such as paid parental leave, access to affordable quality care for children, the elderly, and disabled individuals will play a large role in empowering people to participate in the workplace who really couldn't before, particularly women who are usually expected to take on this role of caretaker. And lastly, when asked about what has been termed the Great Resignation, referring to the large number of workers who have left their jobs in the aftermath of this pandemic, she attributes this to workers feeling like they have more options to choose from in regards to their professional careers. And tying in what Jared Spataro had to say, businesses that better adapt to a hybrid workplace model and make flexibility and mental health a priority for their employees will be strongly favored by workplace talent for years to come. So there you have it. Hopefully you learned a little something about the evolving landscape of the workplace and the future of the labor market. I know I definitely did. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more from Cohort 10 and our Reimagine Collaboration Conference. Bye.